Hi again. Can you believe it? 2 videos in 2 days. Yeah, my phone just like cut off, and so I had to just kind of make some room. I'm not really like very techie savvy, all that stuff. So I knew that I had to just delete some videos. It's saying that a lot of my space is being taken up by apps, photos, and YouTube. So I don't know if I just keep adding videos to YouTube, if it's just gonna store up more space. I don't know what to do. So if somebody knows, they can tell me. I've got to research this. And maybe I have to start using my iPad or a different phone. I bought like extra space, like in the cloud, to store my stuff, but that doesn't seem to make a difference. I think it has to do with my storage capacity on my phone. And I don't know if you can really increase that. So somehow I'll have to like transfer things to hard drive or something. I don't know how to do that, but I will figure it out. Anyways, can you tell I'm cold? It's really not even that cold. I'm such a baby. It's like 52 degrees. So trust me, I've seen it colder in here where I saw like my breath, so it's not that bad. It's just that I don't like the cold. All these YouTubers in the snow, I'm like, no thanks. I'll pass, hard pass. I know they say that they get more views, and I'm not about the views. I feel like the right people will come to my channel for the right reasons at the right time. Like, I'm not one of those people that are just gonna like change my life and kind of like go with what everybody else is doing. I really believe in being authentic and just being yourself. And then, like, that's the thing. It's like, I have people in my life who I know like have my back and they're authentic, and I would rather have like a handful of really good people in my life that you can count on than to have hundreds that are sunshine friends. They're just there when the sun is shining. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to maybe talk about some of the things that I've experienced on the road in the last couple weeks. Just the people, I've met some incredible people. One guy yesterday who really, he stands out because he was just sitting there having his lunch, like he cooked his own lunch on one of those tables. There's like in Bolsa Chica, there's these restaurants that are really just open during like the summer. And so during the winter, they're just, they're vacant. They're just sitting there. So, but there's still tables and chairs, permanent ones. And there's people that come, to the state park that are sleeping in their cars or their rigs. And so he happens to be sleeping in his truck. And he was like, he had cooked his food and whatever. And I walked by and waved, and he waved back. And then we started talking. And next thing you know, like we're chatting for a while, and he's sharing with me what he's done in his life and what he's working on now. And he gave me a sample of what he's working on. And it was funny because when he gave it to me, he's like, smell it. And I was just like, oh, is this one of those tricks, like, because we were at his truck. Like, I went to go look at his truck, and there's like no one around, and so I opened up the container, and he's like, smell it. And I was just like, okay, is this one of those things where like, you smell it and then you pass out and the guy takes you, I mean, it did run through my head. And then I was just like, no, I'm okay, and I opened it, and I'm like, oh, it smells good. It smells very refreshing. So he's working on an ointment that takes away like pain. So let's say like your shoulder's hurting, you rub it on there and it completely like takes away the pain. So they're still working on things, like with attorneys and stuff like that. So he couldn't give me like all the information. But, you know, because you have to really be careful with stuff saying like it cures this and it cures that. Like, you can't say that. You can say that it helps with it. So they're in the middle of just the verbiage and all this stuff. And I asked him, you know, does it have CBD in it? Does it have like, what does it have? And he couldn't. It does have CBD, but he couldn't tell me like all the ingredients. He said, you know, like they're still working on things. But he said it's all natural. And so anyways, he gave me a little sample. Well, not a little, it's a pretty good sized container. So super nice guy. And you could tell that he was, you know, like lonely. And he said that his 5 closest friends had passed away in the last few years, just from different stuff, you know. And so he really doesn't have anybody. And he's been living in his truck, trying to just put all his money towards this business. And so, yeah, we were just talking about, you know, life and stuff like that. And then he's just like, hey, you want to walk down to the water? And I'm like, sure. So we walked down to the water. He's like, I haven't, you know, this is the first time I've done this in so long. He goes, I haven't really talked to anybody like in months. And he goes, I literally was feeling like I was going crazy. And I'm like, why? Why don't you talk to people? And he's like, it just, you know, like nobody, like people aren't like you. And, you know, there was a couple other situations like in the last couple of days where people have said that to me, you know. And it was really nice. Like at one store, one of the workers, he's just like, people like you are like rare, you know. We don't get very many people like you. And I thought, you know, what a shame, you know, that people have forgotten to be playful and friendly and personable. It's like, I don't know, even like with the whole mask thing, I think that's like covered people up as far as like expressing themselves, because you can still smile, you know, like smiling comes from inside. It's not just you're smiling so the person can see it. You're really smiling because, you know, you like people and you're happy to see them, you know. And so I don't know, it's just, to me, it pains me that people are so disconnected. And, you know, if anybody can talk about disconnection, it's like, I am the kind of person that like, I love to be alone. I love to disconnect. I love to, I mean, to the point where like I have to really not isolate, because I can be totally content. And like this guy, he was talking about, you know, he was about to go crazy, and, you know, because he hadn't had that interaction. And I'm the opposite. I can actually go without interaction and be just fine. Like, I'm a social person, but I get filled being out in nature. And, you know, I don't need that human interaction like a lot of people. I'm very content. What's weird is I can't live out in the middle of nowhere though, you know, like permanently. I do need to be around people. I hate crowds, but I love people. It's the weirdest thing. And so I think I've mentioned that before, so I don't want to repeat myself. And if you're new to my channel, I welcome you, and I hope that you'll look at, you know, my past videos from the beginning, and you'll kind of get to know me. But yeah, I just been thinking about, you know, like what people are going through, and just being extra aware of, you know, other people. Like, for instance, I was in my rig and I saw this guy walking, and he literally was going from trash can to trash can looking in to get something to eat. And I was just like, no, that is not okay. And I just grabbed some food and ran out there. And, you know, approaching him, I had to kind of be careful, because it's like, you know, he didn't look approachable. And so I thought, okay, either this guy's going to be insane and yell at me, or, you know, he's going to be receptive. So we'll find out. And I'm like, hey, hi. And he's like, hi. And then I knew like he was okay. And I'm like, I have some food if you would like some food. And he's like, sure. And I showed him like what I had, because when he was talking, I could tell that like he was missing a lot of his teeth. And I thought, oh man, I just gave him like food that's probably is not going to be very easy to eat. You know, you don't think about that, you know, like, I mean, I didn't have time to make him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I just grabbed like what I thought like he might nutritionally need that he wouldn't get otherwise. So I grabbed a bag of pistachios, some protein bars, grapes, oranges, which those are fine. But yeah, when I saw he doesn't have all his teeth, I thought, oh, the pistachios and the, you know, maybe the protein bars are going to be hard for him to eat. And I'm like, can you eat this stuff? You know, like, he's like, yeah, you know. And so he was really appreciative. And then I saw that his shoes, like, not to be mean, but they look like clown shoes because they were so big. And the way he was walking, he was like scooting his feet. And I noticed like he didn't have shoelaces. And I'm like, what size shoes do you wear? And he goes, 13. And I go, do you need some shoelaces? And he's like, yeah. And I said, next time I see you, you know, I'll get you some shoelaces. So I went down to the dollar store and picked up shoelaces. I haven't seen him, but I know he's a regular there. You can just tell. And so next time I see him and I go back there, you know, I'll give him the shoelaces. And, you know, it's really about like seeing people, like really seeing people. Cause I just, you know, I look around and I just see people just walk by him like he's not even there. And imagine if for months and years you go and no one sees you, like no one acknowledges you, you're like invisible. Like if you're a social person, eventually that is going to place in your mind. That's going to like cause something to happen, you know? Like I probably wouldn't be as affected if people like ignored me, because honestly, I like to be ignored. I know that sounds weird. But I like to kind of be invisible, you know? I'm more of an observer, and I'm more like in my own world, that when the spotlight or things are like, you know, or, you know, attention is towards me, like it just, I don't know, it's very uncomfortable. Like I have a girlfriend who just loves the spotlight. She loves attention, and she's very social. She's the opposite of me. And when we go places, you know, she gets attention and she's very social. And then she tries to push me out there. And like she's asked me to speak at events and stuff like that, or, you know, just do things that are just so out of my comfort. And I freak out, and it's like, I hate it. And I tell her all the time, like, I will be the silent person, like behind the scenes. And she's like, no, Anna, you're supposed to be like on the platform. You're supposed to be, you know, you're supposed to share your testimony. You're supposed to, and I'm just like, no, I'll write a book, you know, like that'll be like more my style. So anyways, I don't know how I got on that, but anyways, it really goes back to, especially in this lifestyle, I've noticed that like as many as there are of us sleeping in our vehicles, driving around, it seems like there's really a disconnection. So we could all congregate in a space, but nobody like socializes, nobody, you know, and so it can be a very lonely lifestyle if you're a very outgoing social person, and then, you know, you've got to go to new situations all the time, new places, and you don't know anybody. So I can see where it might be hard for some people. For me, it's like I I get away from the crowds, you know, like when I start seeing crowds or a lot of people, I tend to go opposite direction, you know. So even like on weekends are probably hardest for me because that's when the crowds come, and then that's when I like have to leave.